Have you ever noticed that Hyrule's entire water supply has to run through King Zora's taint? Just something to think about. Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we're continuing the Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Last time we beat the Dodongo's Cavern, and then made our way over to Zora's Domain, home of the merfolk known as the Zoras, where we found out that their beloved Princess Ruto has been swallowed by a giant monster. So now we have to go rescue her. Before proceeding onward, highly recommend that you have a fish in a bottle, as I do, as they'll be very important going forward. Also, for other things I could recommend, having a good supply of Deku Nuts is something that I could recommend going forward. Make sure you have plenty of seeds in your slingshot. And obviously make sure you have a good supply of hearts, which I currently do with all of the different side quests we've been doing lately. So, we are more than prepared for the trial ahead. So with that said, let's go forward. Past King Zora. And into Zora's Fountain. So this is the source of all water in Hyrule. And over here we can see the big guy himself, Lord Jabu Jabu. You know, it's very fitting that an aquatic race like the Zoras would make the patron deity of their kingdom a giant fish. This guy's just kind of chilling here, just really not doing anything. Check the sign here. Zora's Fountain. Don't disturb Lord Jabu Jabu. King Zora the 16th, I believe that is. What is it, Navi? It seems Princess Ruto somehow got inside Jabu Jabu's belly. Yeah, can't imagine why that would happen. So we gotta go get her out. Before we do, however, there is one thing I wanted to do over here in Zora's Fountain before we head into the belly of the beast. So I want to head over here on the southern side of the fountain, over by this wall. So we hit that tree there, we can get a Skulltula to spawn. It's giving us another Skulltula to our total. And now what I want to do is throw a bomb just right over by those rocks over there. And that blasts open a giant hole in the wall, leading into a great fairy's fountain. It's the third one we found so far. And one I highly recommend, as it'll make some things later in this adventure a bit easier to deal with. Oh boy. Welcome, Hayden. I am the Great Fairy of Magic. I will give you a magic spell. Please take it. You got Furor's Wind. This is warp magic you can use. Warp when you are in danger. You'll teleport to the warp point. When you first use the magic, you'll create a warp point. When you use the magic again, you can either dispel the warp point you created last time, or warp to that point. Remember, you can use Furor's Wind only in dungeons that have a dungeon map hidden inside, okay? When battle has made you weary, please, come back to see me. We may be visiting you sometime in the future there. Always do like the concept of the Great Fairies. Like, the ones in Link to the Past and Link's Awakening always look so elegant and dainty, while these ones definitely have a lot more of an There's a very well-defined physique. A lot of the other Great Fairy designs later on in the series are also pretty good. Especially love the Breath of the Wild ones because, oh boy, some of the things they do to Link are kind of sus, but you got to do what you can. Alright, so we gotta get inside the belly of Lord Jabu Jabu. In order to do that, let's go in front of him and drop a fish. Here you go, bud. It's nice and fresh, just the way you like it. Oh no! Too much suction! Now I know how a meatball feels. Inside Jabu Jabu's belly. This is our third dungeon so far, and to be honest, this is a great dungeon as we're going to see going forward. Right off the bat, we got some Octoroks in here we got to deal with. So you can no doubt tell a lot of the enemies we're going to be facing around here are aquatic in nature. Alongside Octoroks, we also got Shabam. If you try to cut it, it'll bounce off your blade. It's kind of a weird wording for that because you can easily beat the Shabams just by cutting them with your sword. Yeah, they're pretty easy to deal with. I take it that they're meant to be like gas bubbles that formed inside Jabu Jabu's bowels. Anyway, we got some switches here that we can hit with our slingshot, opening the path forward. I just really love the way this place looks. Just the way the walls are undulating is just so... really makes you feel like you're inside a giant monster. Anyway, we got some new enemies here. Beery. If you touch it, you'll be electrocuted. Do not attack these guys with your sword, otherwise you will take an electric shock. These jellyfish guys definitely can be annoying. However, what I like to do here is to use Deku Nuts in order to stun them, making them vulnerable to attacks with the sword. Oh, that was quick. Hello, Your Majesty.
You! Who are you? I am Ruto, Princess of the Zoras. What? You say my father asked you to come here to save me? I never ask anyone to do such a thing. Letter in a bottle? I have no idea what you're talking about. My father's worried about me? I don't care. Anyway, I can't go home right now. And you, get out of here, understand?
Well, excuse me, Princess.
Oh no!
Oh, she's fallen down that orifice. Let's go after her. Hi, Ruto.
Are you still hanging around here? I told you to go away. I'm okay. I've been going inside Lord Jabu Jabu's belly since I was little, but...
a lot to read into there.
Lord Jabu Jabu is very strange today. There are electrified jellyfish and strange holes around. On top of that, my precious stone was... but that's none of your business. Anyway, you, go home now. Understand?
So up in this room, we can see there's a lot more enemies here, as well as some gold Skulltulas. We'll be dealing with those in a little bit.
You're that worried about me? Then I'll give you the honor of carrying me. However, I won't leave until I find the thing I'm looking for. Better believe me.
So now we got ourselves a little bit of an escort mission. Gotta carry Ruto all throughout the belly of Jabu Jabu. Which is honestly not as bad as you would think. Okay, the slingshot does nothing to Shabams, just needed to confirm that. What is nice about Ruto is that she is more than just something we have to lug around. So we could demonstrate if we can get a Shabam close to us. Well, it was hard to demonstrate right there, but an interesting thing with Ruto is that you can actually use her as a projectile in order to damage certain things. Yep, her butt will just crush whatever is in the way. Kind of weird. So anyway, over here in this little chamber, Got some new enemies here. Stinger. Destroy it before it flies into you. A little stingray guy. You can stun them with a Deku Nut, but really don't recommend doing that with your nuts. Much prefer to save those for the berries. Just want to swim close to the stingers in order to get them, in order to lure them out. And then just shoot them with your slingshot. We got way more seeds than we do nuts, so it's pretty easy to handle those guys. Ow. That's what happens if you touch a Shabam. Kind of demonstrated that unintentionally. So if you leave the stingers out in the open, they will eventually dive at you, which can be a bit annoying to deal with, but it's not too bad. Take that guy out here. Sadly can't reach him right now. So Ruto, you can go up. Whoop, sorry about that, princess. Go up there. And if we jump onto this switch, we can raise the water level. You destroyed a gold Skulltula and got a token. Awesome. There's some pots over here. One of them has a fairy. Oh man. I was hoping I could actually get that into a bottle now that we don't have to lug around that fish, but we were sadly unable to do so. We're able to just quickly jump around the pit that way, which is good. And we can go forward. Sorry about this, princess, but it's the easiest way to deal with threats around here. Don't think ill will of me, your majesty. Oops. Sorry about that, Ruto. Where are you? Ah, jeez. So if you separate from Ruto, that can be real bad. And because she will typically go back to the entrance of the last room you were in. And unfortunately, I really messed things up. Okay, let's get back over here. Anyway, while we're just kind of getting our bearings through here, making our way through Jabu Jabu. There you are. Whenever you're separated from Ruto, she'll come back here. How inconsiderate! How could you leave me behind? If you're a man, act like one. Take responsibility. Ah, boy, you and I are gonna get along just fine, your majesty. So while we're just heading back here, I wanted to say that I do find this area cool for a variety of different ways. Just the overall design and layout of Jabu Jabu's belly just makes it for a very interesting dungeon. And of course, this whole area is based on the typical old folklore about being swallowed by a giant creature, usually a whale, as seen in some stories like Pinocchio or the story of Jonah from the Bible. It's cool they were able to insert a bit of that into this game. Alright, so we can deal with this guy there. And I'm just going to separate from Ruto very briefly in order to check something over here. Back up, and there is a business scrub. Right, sir, you are very rude. Ow! Son of a... I don't even know if I want what you're selling, sir, but you are being very rude to me. Let's get you to spit once, then get back up here. What do you have, sir? I surrender. In return, I'll sell you Deku Nuts. That is actually pretty good. But I already have plenty of nuts, so we don't need your services right now. Alright, Ruto, you had better be back where I need you to. Yeah, she's just waiting patiently for us. Now, what you're supposed to do here is wait for this platform to lower and then ride it back up. Yeah, I just wanted to check out that little space down there just so that I am certain that I'm not missing anything there. Because, believe it or not, we are able to finish up this dungeon in one go. And we'll be able to get every last bit of treasure we need here, as well as the gold skulltulas. So now that we are up here in that first room where we saw Ruto, we can just sneak on past these holes in the ground and make our way over here. We're gonna ignore that big guy for now. We want to head over here. We got some new enemies. Tail Passerin. Its tail is its weak point. I want to ignore these guys entirely. This area is a bit interesting with its layout. We have a lot of different paths we can take through here. This switch, it doesn't look like you can press it down with your weight alone, Hayden. Nope, but since we have Ruto with us, we are able to push it, allowing us to move forward. Alright, now this room, we got some more stingers to deal with. It's a pretty simple challenge here, all things considered. Could you lock back onto this guy, please? Okay, come on. There's some other stuff I kind of want to use around here, but is there really a good opportunity to at the moment? So I'm mainly just going to be sticking to a lot of things that I've already used plenty of. But some point soon in here, I do want to try a few other things we really haven't taken the time to demonstrate. Ugh, just take out that little guy. And that causes a chest to spawn in. Time to claim our reward. With that, we obtain the boomerang. On the select item subscreen, you can set it to the C buttons. Press C to use it to attack distant enemies. This is a very good item. It doesn't outclass the slingshot, but it comes very darn close. This thing is amazing. So we're gonna go back through here. So we got some tail passerins down here we can deal with. And I want to take this opportunity to show that the boomerang is able to take out small enemies. Very nice. Just gonna take the opportunity to take out these guys, give them no chance to really do anything to us. By the way, don't bother attacking them with the sword because they will electrify you. Now over here, some of the pathways are blocked by those big tentacles, so we're gonna have to just leave those for now. But over here, we got a switch that needs to be weighed down. So, Ruto, we're gonna need you to weigh that down for us. And over here, we got a new threat. Parasitic Tentacle? It seems the narrow part is its weak point. You need a particular item to destroy it. And that's why I wanted to grab the boomerang before coming in here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to deal with this thing. So the Parasitic Tentacle's honestly pretty easy to deal with. Just lure it close and then throw the boomerang in order to take it out. If you give that thing the opportunity to attack, it will lunge at you, which can be pretty painful to deal with, all things considered. But by beating that guy, we get the map. This would be a nice way to see just how this guy's innards look. Yeah, really not all that complicated. There are a few different passageways around this back portion, but overall it's not too bad. Yeah, Ruto will chew you out every time you leave her behind, so keep that in mind. Now that we dealt with that tentacle, the red slimy thing is gone. That must be because you cut the red tail. Will that work with the other ones too? So yeah, by destroying these parasitic tentacles, you're able to open up paths to other areas. And in this room, we got ourselves a timed challenge. Got to take out all the Shaboms in this room within the time limit. Otherwise, wow, I'm just taking so many hits here. Just take out all these guys here before the time limit. Otherwise, we won't be able to get the goodies inside. Just easily able to take these guys out with the boomerang. You can really see just why this is such a good item. Being able to lock onto enemies just instantly, you throw a damaging weapon at them. It is very good. And with that, we obtained the compass, which will let us know the locations of any chests we still need to find in here. Actually, that is the last chest in here. Alright, so now our main goal is just to go around the bowels of this big lug and see if there's anything else we can do around here. Alright, one of the pathways is now open over here, giving us another tentacle to deal with. Also like the kind of theming of this area, how not only is it mostly water enemies you're dealing with around here, but a lot of the enemies here you could see as parasitic life forms that are begun to infest Jabu Jabu, which would explain a lot of things that have been going on. Now this tentacle room is a bit different because we have some Viri in here, but they can be easily taken out with the boomerang, much like everything else in here. This really is a good area for demonstrating how good the boomerang is, and it's definitely going to see a lot of good use throughout our journey. Just want to take out this last tentacle back here. Oh, Jabu Jabu is really going to be happy about that, cleaning up this guy's bowels. Alright, Ruto, let's move on. Now that we dealt with all of those guys, we want to head back into the room over here. As now one of the tentacles blocking one of these orifices is now open to us. And while we just want to take this opportunity to showcase another enemy here, Bari. If you touch it, you'll be electrocuted. It's got a much larger version of the Biris we have seen here. And much like the Baris from previous games, when you kill them, they will split up into smaller Biris. It's very nice how they do incorporate a lot of classic Zelda enemies into this game in some interesting, unique ways. But now that we dealt with that tentacle, we are now able to get up onto this ledge in the lower levels that we couldn't reach before. And we could take this opportunity to take care of some gold Skulltulas here. So another reason why I like the boomerang, you can use it to retrieve objects that are far away from you. And we can use it here to not only damage gold Skulltulas, but also retrieve their tokens. So we're going to be using the boomerang a lot throughout the rest of the game in order to take out a lot of things that we need in order to... Well, we're going to be using the boomerang as the key for acquiring a lot of gold Skulltula tokens that we couldn't access before, is what I mean to say. Oh, look at that.
That's it! That's what I've been looking for! Throw me up there, onto the platform!
Alright, Your Majesty. Princess Ruto got the spiritual stone. But why Princess Ruto?
Oh my goodness! I finally found my mother's stone! I got very upset when Lord Jabu Jabu swallowed it. While I was feeding him, he suddenly swallowed me. I was so surprised I dropped it inside. But now that I found it, I don't need to be here anymore. So, take me home right now.
Before we go any farther, I highly recommend equipping a Deku Stick.
Yeah! What is this? An octopus?
Aw man, a friend of mine very recently had to deal with an octopus on stream, and that was an unfortunate situation. But here is our big threat here, Big Octo. Attack it from behind. This is pretty much a larger, mature Octorok. This guy can be a bit of a pain to deal with if you're not prepared for him. You're able to stun him with the boomerang, much like most threats we've encountered in this adventure. Want to hang back a little bit back here, and then... Alright, so this guy can be a little bit of a pain. We gotta try to stun him at the right time. Specifically, we want to stun him from behind. But it's not really giving us a good opportunity here. Also, avoid the platform in the middle of this arena, because the spines there will hurt you. Alright, we're able to stun him, and then do a jump attack with the Deku Stick, taking this guy out instantly. Yeah, if you don't use the Deku Stick strat against this guy, you're going to be having to stun him and attack him with a sword repeatedly over and over again, and it is super obnoxious. Thankfully, I had that strategy. God, really goes to show just how good Deku Sticks are. They're just such incredible weapons that our ordinary sword is just so much outclassed by this dinky little stick. It's crazy. Let's restock on our nuts here. Not that we really need them at this point since we have the boomerang. But it's nice to have a good supply of them for later. Alright, in this room we have these big, wobbly things here. You try to touch them while they're moving, they will damage you. So you just want to stun them with the boomerang before going forward. And that makes our way over here. So we're able to lower this platform, allowing us to go forward. But before we do so, there are a couple more things I wanted to see around here in the dungeon. Namely on the lower level. So we're just going to drop down here. Ow. Would any of you guys be kind enough to drop some hearts? Because I kind of need them right now. But yeah, what I wanted to do before going any farther, now that we're separated from Ruto, just wanted to show that we can go into this room here. Some more Octoroks as well as this thing here. And this room has a lot of rupees in them. We are very close to maxing out our rupee total right now. Also able to get a fairy here, which is very nice. So a lot of good stuff you can find in the side rooms of this dungeon. Ow. That's pretty much everything I want to do down here, so let us climb up this. I really don't know what to call these. Like, they're probably blood vessels that we're climbing up. I don't know, when you really think about it, this is a very morbid dungeon. How we're just going around this guy's organs, messing around with a lot of important stuff that he needs to function and all that. When you really think about it, this is a very disturbing area. Alright, so in order to go forward, want to grab one of these crates that's over here. And then we're going to drop that onto this blue switch, since we no longer have Ruto to weigh it down. Alright, drop it, buddy. There we go. And we are in the last room of the dungeon. It's a pretty simple area here. But it has some good stuff that we are going to want to grab. Let's take out these Beery that are over here. Then, we can see that there is a gold skulltula up here. Simply grab that. And, if memory serves, that is the very last gold skulltula we needed in here. So when you manage to get the last gold skulltula that is found in a dungeon, you will see a gold skulltula icon appear next to the name of the dungeon on the map screen. So yeah, we were able to get every last thing on the first visit to Jabu Jabu's belly, which is a nice contrast from the other dungeons that we had previously been to. So we can simply hit that switch with our boomerang, and that opens the path forward. Beyond here is the boss. Highly recommend making sure you have at least a potion or a fairy before going forward, because otherwise, this could be trouble. I don't know if I actually want to use that. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking about my options here, but yeah, I'm pretty sure our current equipment are going to be just fine. So let us go onward. Bioelectric anemone, Baronade. So here's the source of the parasites that have been infesting Jabu Jabu's belly. Baronade. Many parasitic jellyfish swarm around this monster. Aim for its body, protected by jellyfish. For the first phase of this battle, we want to target the tentacles on top of this guy. Be sure to move around, otherwise he'll blast at you with electricity from those other tendrils he has. Now the next phase, we got to attack the body directly, which tends to be protected by its swarm of jellyfish. Simply stun it, and then you are able to go on the offensive. Alright, this phase could be a bit tricky, with him spinning around all those Beery to protect him. There we go. So we can take this opportunity to take out the Beery before they can regroup with Baronade. And we're definitely going to need to do this before we can move on to the next phase of the fight. Alright, just one more left. He is almost all out of shields. Alright, there we go. He's stunned, and that takes care of the last Beery. So now we got the main body to deal with. This really isn't too bad. Occasionally, he will sink into the floor, in which case you want to maneuver around the tentacles to make sure you can avoid their blasts. Yeah, this is a pretty simple fight, all things considered. Ow! On. There we go! Gross! Well, after taking care of the world's most disgusting piñata, we get a heart container. So that now gets us 10 hearts. We are halfway to having full health. Well, would you look at our other prize? She seems happy to see us.
You're late! What took you so long? You're useless. I was just lonely, that's all. Just a little.
And that takes care of Jabu Jabu. Oh, what? Ugh, that was too close for comfort. Oh, hey.
You look cool. Cooler than I thought you would anyway. Just a little. Well, anyway, you saved me, so I guess I'll reward you. What do you wish? Just tell me.
I want that spiritual stone.
You mean the spiritual stone of water, Zora's sapphire, don't you? My mother gave it to me and said I should give it only to the man who will be my husband. You might call it the Zora's engagement ring. Alright, I'll give you my most precious possession, Zora's sapphire.
How nice of her. You obtained Zora's sapphire. This is the spiritual stone of water passed down by the Zoras. Her most precious possession?
You don't know what she's talking about, but you finally collected all 3 spiritual stones.
Go back to see Princess Zelda.
Don't tell my father.
I'm guessing King Zora's old school, doesn't believe in that interracial marriage. But yeah, with that, we've managed to obtain the last spiritual stone. And we have also won the heart of the Zora Princess. Neat. Alright, so we have our main objectives set. We gotta return to Hyrule Castle in order to speak with Princess Zelda. However, there are some things that I want to do, and now that we have acquired the boomerang, and have a lot more access to things that we wouldn't be able to reach before. So we're going to be going on a bit of a world tour around Hyrule and completing a bunch of objectives I want to get done. Namely relating to Skulltulas. As by this point, we're able to collect a lot of different Skulltulas that we wouldn't have been able to reach before. Yes, Navi?
You collected 3 spiritual stones. Let's go back to Hyrule Castle.
We will in a bit, Navi. I just want to focus on some other things first. Alright, if we head back into Zora's domain, we can see the princess is by her father's side now.
Did my most precious possession help you in your quest?
Well, we'll see about that once I go talk to Zelda.
Who's she, another woman?
I gotta go. Oh, Hayden, so you saved the princess, eh? I really appreciate it. So, much like the Gorons, we proved ourselves a hero to the Zoras as well. Peace is now returned here. Really shows how much of an impact we've been able to make on the world and how far we've come since we first set off on our adventure. Managing to win the favor of the princess, getting to help out the Gorons and the Zoras with their problems. We've really come a long way. Alright, at this point, I don't believe there are any spiders we are able to obtain around here. However, there are some things I want to grab here before we leave Zora's River. But very quickly, what I want to do is head back to the bean cellar and buy any beans that we can with our current equipment. Also want to check a few things around here. I can see We might be able to get over here. No, this looks a bit too high. So there's something we can't do right now, but I want to remember that for much later on. Alright, we got the bean cellar over here. Let us go retrieve our prize here. We have the super rare magic beans. This could be your last chance. Special price, 70 rupees for one piece. They're really getting expensive, but they're still worth it. We have the legendary magic beans. I'll sell them only to you. Super price, 80 rupees for one piece. So now that we have the 8th bean in total, I could recommend stopping buying magic beans from here until a little bit later, as we're not going to be able to access the 9th or 10th points where we can plant beans until much later on in our adventure. But for the time being, it's good to be able to have this amount with us. Alright, so our first stop in our tour of the world, let us head back to Kokiri Forest, as this area is definitely going to have some stuff we want to take care of now that we have the boomerang. And while we're doing our world tour of Hyrule, I'm thinking we could talk about some other stuff that has been going on lately. So things over in my area just haven't been too great lately. Just the weather has been very cold and muggy last couple of days. And I've actually had to put on extra layers, which I usually don't do in my own home. But yeah, I'm hoping things start to get a little bit better because, I don't know, I just want to go out more, but it's pretty cold here, which I guess is to be expected since it's January, but, you know. Besides that, I've also been working a few other stuff. I want to get back to drawing some more, but just really haven't been feeling much motivation to do a lot of stuff these days, but I'm hoping to get back and draw some stuff in the future. But yep, we are back inside the... Ooh! How did that happen? But yep, we are back here inside the Great Deku Tree because there is something we can now do here that we couldn't before. So much earlier in our adventure, we couldn't access a certain section of the Great Deku Tree because we did not have the means of getting through here. But now, we are able to do so. It's back in here with the room with the Goma larva. Let's go ahead and take these guys out first. Come here, you. Back over here, there's this wall we couldn't do anything about. But now that we have bombs, we're able to blast it open. So, let us do so. And that allows us to go into this room. So we're able to stun on the big Skulltulas with the boomerang, which is pretty helpful. Allows you to just get right behind them and take them out. But just barely visible here, there is a gold Skulltula that was hidden away here. And now that we have you, my pretty, that should be the last Skulltula inside the Great Deku Tree. Not bad. Just going to ignore you and get out of here. We have no more reason to be inside the Great Deku Tree, and we have no reason to return here ever again. Very nice we're able to take care of that. Sadly, we are not going to be able to finish up the Dongo's Cavern, so we are not going to go there anytime soon. But sometime later, I will note when we'll be able to revisit that area in order to take care of everything we can do. So, I don't know how things have been with all of you, but been a little busy with work these days, which I'm hoping is going to be a little bit calmer going forward. I really don't know how well things are going to be, but for the most part, things have been pretty okay at work. I don't know, you still usually get the odd customers that come in and just kind of lead to a weird experience on the job, but it's nothing that's really affected me too much. So another thing I wanted to do here while we're in the forest is we're going to take the magic beans that we have been collecting from the bean cellar, and we're going to plant them in every single one of these dirt mounds that we have encountered all throughout the land of Hyrule. So at the moment, there are 8 mounds that we are able to plant beans into. And part of this world tour is to go all around the world and fill in those dirt mounds and get the beans ready. As sometime later, we are going to make use of these beans. Alright, so now that we're in Lost Woods, there are 2 beans here that we can grab. Well, there are 2 mounds we can grab now that we have beans. Let's go ahead and plant this one over here. And then we're gonna want to go over this way. So back over where we saw the forest stage earlier on in our adventure. Just past these areas. And right over here, let's take out this Deku scrub here. And we can plant a bean right here. So that is the last of the beans we need to plant here in the forest. There's a couple more spots that we can plant these at, however, so I want to go take care of that next. So next I want to do is take the shortcut to Goron City. I don't think there's anything we really need to buy from the Gorons here. We could stock up on some more bombs, but I really don't feel the need to do so at the moment. And I don't believe there are any more Skulltulas we are able to grab here. So we're just gonna head on forward. Alright, so right over here by the entrance to Dodongo's Cavern was this dirt mound that we saw before. We'll just plant our bean right there. Now, regarding that particular mound, you technically do not have to plant the bean there. However, I recommend doing it because it will make something a bit easier as we progress forward in our adventure. So I wanted to make a quick note of that. It's technically not required, but it is helpful. Now back here in Kakariko Village, I want to check my current total on spiders. 35. Wow, we're making some really good progress. So now that we have 35 spiders, let's pay a visit to the Skulltula house and see what we can get. So right in here. Let's go talk to this fellow. The curse has been broken! Thank you! Here's a reward for you. You got a giant's wallet! What a huge wallet! Now you can carry up to 500 rupees. Thank you very much. Please save my other brothers too. I'm sure they'll give you something a lot better. Will you do it? I am obligated to at this point, good sir. But yeah, it is crazy just how many of these spiders you're able to get by this point in the adventure. And, spoiler warning, we are nowhere close to being done with this particular quest line. Say that for later. So now what I wanted to do is head over here into the graveyard and want to plant a bean right over here in this mound. And before we leave this area, I want to quickly change the time to night. Otherwise, we will not be able to do what I want to here. So now that it's nighttime, we can take our boomerang over to this end of the graveyard where this Skulltula has been taunting us much earlier on in our adventure. We can finally kill this thing and collect its token. You need the boomerang in order to be able to get this one. And it's going to be like that for a lot of spiders going forward. So that taken care of. So now that we have access to bombs, there is something else that we can do here. So back here when we first got the Hylian shield much earlier on in our adventure, we can take a bomb over here and blow up this wall. Something that we could not do before until getting access to the Gorons and Dodongo's Cavern. And we have a little fairy fountain here. At this point, I don't need bugs, so we're just gonna deposit these guys here and collect ourselves a spare fairy. Although I really don't know if we're really gonna be needing this many fairies at this point. I mean, just having one is optimal, but still good to have. So now that that's taken care of, we can move forward. Alright, we got the bean planted over here. Good. And there's only a couple more spots where we can grab these. Alright. So for our next destination, I'm thinking we'll want to head to Gerudo Valley next. We're at 36. Good. So while we're heading off to Gerudo, what is something else we could talk about right now? So I'm quite interested in the remake of Kirby's Return to Dreamland that is eventually coming to the Switch. Because that is a game that I really enjoyed when it was initially released on the Nintendo Wii. And I'm very interested to see how this remake is going to play a bit differently from the original release. Something I especially like about some of the new updates about the game is that they're adding new abilities, which is something they really don't do for too many remakes. Okay, I kind of jumped the gun and approached here a bit sooner than I wanted to, but it's okay. Talk about a warm welcome, am I right? Oh, hey, Zelda, I got the stone drag!
You almost trampled me!
I take it they're not out for a jaunty ride. Oh! Oh, boy. I lost her! You, over there. You must have seen the white horse gallop past just now. Which way did it go? Answer me! I really don't want to. So, you think you can protect them from me? You've got guts, kid. You want a piece of me? Very funny. I like your attitude. Guess how many fingers I'm holding up? Pain! Pathetic little fool! Do you realize who you're dealing with? I am Ganondorf, and soon I will rule the world! What a douche. So yeah, Princess Zelda has left the castle, along with Impa, and Ganondorf is now in pursuit of both of them. What's that? It was the thing that Zelda threw into the moat as she was fleeing from Ganondorf. If we head down and grab it... You found the Ocarina of Time! This is the royal family's hidden treasure which Zelda left behind. It glows with a mystical light.
Hayden, can you hear me? It's me, Zelda. Hayden, when you hold this ocarina in your hand, I won't be around anymore. I wanted to wait for you, but I couldn't delay any longer. At least I could leave you the ocarina and this melody. This song opens the door of time.
You've learned the Song of Time.
Now, Hayden, play this melody in front of the altar in the Temple of Time. You must protect the Triforce.
We now have the titular Ocarina of Time. So, as was alluded to much earlier in our adventure, Zelda told us that the Ocarina of Time was the key to accessing the sacred realm inside the Temple of Time. And unfortunately, she had to entrust it in our care after Ganondorf began to pursue her. funny how it all comes together, you know? Alright, so now that we're back here in Lon Lon Ranch, yeah, I said I was gonna go to Gerudo, but we'll save that for a bit later. I want to return to Lon Lon Ranch when it was night, as at this time, we are now able to do things that we couldn't before. Namely, we can get to the spider that is up on this window. And we can grab your token. Nice. I believe we've already grabbed the thing over here we could have done. Alright, this place always seems so eerie to me at night, just without all the farm animals here. It definitely feels quite different from how it used to be. And I can see something pursuing us. It's a Gwei. Destroy it before it flies into you. Yeah, these crow guys can be a little annoying. They'll just dive bomb you from random, and yep, they can be a pain to deal with if you're not prepared for them. Meanwhile, back here, there's a gold skulltula that we could find here that wasn't available before. And if we check this southeastern corner of the map, we can go down here, and that's a bunch of business scrubs. I'm not even gonna bother dealing with you. You're not worth it. Alright, let me check the map right now. Okay, there's one other thing we can grab here in Lon Lon at this time. So just want to quickly check the areas around here. Yep, and over here in the southwestern portion of the map is another skulltula. Let's just take you out. And claim another token. And with that, I believe, we check our map here. That is the very last gold skulltula we needed to get in Lon Lon Ranch. So anytime you've collected all the gold skulltulas that can be found in a given region, you'll see a gold skulltula icon next to the name of that location. So we're all done getting spiders here. We're not completely done with Lon Lon Ranch, but at the same time, we're not going to be able to do anything here for a little bit. So, let us move on. So while we're making way over by Gerudo, I was thinking we could talk about some other stuff that has been going on. So, recently this week, I have actually started to go back to Xenoblade Chronicles free in order to take care of some things that I have left behind in that game, as well as get started on the game's DLC, as that was something that I was very excited about, especially with one of the new additions made into the game. And at this point, I've already unlocked access to that particular character's questline, so very excited to get that done. Also, seen quite a few interesting little side story stuff with the game, as well as some, well, I really don't know how I want to go about describing this. As with this particular game, it's one that I don't really want to go too far into spoilers with it, especially because I'm in the post-game of it, so we'll say that I've been enjoying my revisit to this game. Mainly been focusing on getting some of the abilities for one of the the class in the game that I've been meaning to go back to, which requires hunting a lot of different enemies. But I've been having fun with that. Yeah, it's been very good, especially because at the point of the game I'm at, I'm able to easily out-level a good chunk of the enemies I need to deal with. So, it's been very fun clearing out the remaining bad guys I need. But anyway, wanted to get down into this secret hole down here. And wouldn't you know it, this is the first time we're going to be needing to use this ability. So, this area is coated in webs here, blocking access to some things around this cavern. In order to deal with this, we need to use Din's Fire. Now, Din's Fire is a pretty interesting move, but one I don't tend to use all that often, except for solving puzzles. It is pretty good as a weapon. It's basically crowd control, but it takes up a lot of magic in order to use it. So, I typically only use it for emergencies or to help solve puzzles. It's still a very good item, though, because it instantly took out that big Skulltula since it was in range. And took care of some other stuff around here as well. And we got that Skulltula that was in here. Alright. So we've done pretty much everything I wanted to here, so let us move forward. But yeah, Din's Fire is an interesting ability, good for crowd control if you're surrounded by a lot of enemies. But for the most part, I typically don't use this ability. There is one thing I will note, and it's that you do not want to use Din's Fire in a room with keys, because that will just turn them into fire keys, making them even worse to deal with. So yeah, alongside the other things I've been doing in my cleanup of Xenoblade 3, I've also been pretty eager to get started on the challenge mode that got added in the DLC as well. Sure, that'll be pretty fun to go through. You can earn some good rewards as well as some cosmetics that I'd definitely be excited to grab. Anyway, now that we're over here by Gerudo's Valley, wanted to head down here with our chicken friend to get down here. Ow. Good thing I only took 1 heart of damage, otherwise that would have been painful. Yeah, Link is surprisingly a sturdy kid. Excuse me, gotta plant a bean. Alright, that's pretty much everything we can do in Gerudo for the time being. So, let us head down the river to Lake Hylia, and we can take this opportunity to take care of some stuff I've been meaning to do over here. So I know you want to talk to me, Navi, but it's really not important right now. Ow. So don't think we're gonna be able to get over to this in time. Nope. Well, that's not gonna stop me because I can't read. It's gonna play Sun Song right now, change the time back to night so we can collect the spider over here. This is one we saw much earlier on when we first visited this place, but only now can we actually collect it now that we have the boomerang. There we go. It's another gold Skulltula in the bag. Let's go check inside the Temple of Time. We'll do that in a bit, Navi. Got other priorities right now, girl. And using the last of our current magic beans, want to head over here and plant this one. So this is another magic bean that is completely optional, but one I still recommend, as it is going to make things a bit easier for us in the future. And with that, I believe that's everything we can collect in Lake Hylia for the time being. So, let us press onward. Alright, trying to think about the next couple of objectives we're gonna have to do. So at this point, I know for a fact we can get all of the gold Skulltulas in Hyrule Field at this point. But in order to do so, it's gonna be a bit interesting. We have options, I just need to remember what we're gonna have to do here. I know it's only been a few weeks since I did my practice run of this game and also managed to get all the gold Skulltulas in that version of the game, but just need to refresh myself on a couple of things here. So at the very least, this is a big area we can explore, so we definitely have a lot of opportunities to check for spiders. And yeah, I namely want to get this done because I know we're able to get all of the gold Skulltulas in Hyrule Field at this point, so it'll be good to do so now. So I don't believe there are any more around Lon Lon Ranch, at least the exterior of it. And maybe something to do around there a bit later, but for the time being, I don't have to worry about that. Now, part of me believes that there is a secret by this tree here. Oh god. If I had the rumble setting on my controller available, this would make things so much easier, but sadly I don't. Okay, I don't think there's anything by this tree, it's just kind of here. Is it over here in the field? There is a hole beneath that boulder we blew up. And looks like it's just treasure here. At least it's good to pick up some treasure, as this could be useful to us should we need to go to... So we need to pay a visit to the bean person again. Come on, I need it to stay night. It's gonna make finding these spiders so much easier. So while I'm out here right now, I guess something else I could say kind of pertaining to Zelda is that very recently, even before I started this stream series, a friend of mine, Master Starman, has actually started a Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which has been pretty interesting so far. Like, he is just before the first dungeon in that game. And it's been definitely fun to get to revisit that game vicariously through his Let's Play. Twilight Prince has always been a game I really liked, and funny enough, it shares a lot of qualities with Ocarina of Time. To the point where one could say it's kind of a ripoff, but not really. They're two very distinct games when it comes to the overall feel, but structurally they do share a few similarities, which is why I can see the comparison most people make. But yeah, it's very fun to check out his videos at the moment, as well as some of the streams he's been doing, as he's definitely been keeping busy with things like Diddy Kong Racing and Pokemon Shining Pearl. They've been some good streams. Trying to think about what I'm gonna do next here. Because again, things would be so much easier if I had the rumble feature, which I don't. I'm pretty sure the old controller I used had rumble, but I had to switch up my controller because of issues. Let's see if we can blast this boulder open. So that exposes a hole for us. And more treasure. Alright, it's nice that we're finding all this still. Alright, I have a few ideas on where we could go to find spiders here. Now, it's also a bit tricky here because I know that there is another secret around this area that we're not going to be able to get to do until much later. So over here in the northwestern part of Hyrule Field... Whoa, is that a face to look up to? So I want to go across this river here. And I believe there's something under this boulder. Yep, there is a hole. Oh, a fairy fountain. So that could be convenient. Not something I really need here. So there are these trees here that could be something in them. Wait. Oh. Do my eyes deceive me, or is there a certain fellow over there? Alright, I'll go take care of you very soon. I just want to check one last thing over here. There's this lone tree on this side of the river, and... nothing. Great. Yeah, at this point, pretty sure you're able to get all of the gold Skulltulas at Hyrule Field this time. Just having some bad luck actually finding them all here. We could save this for a bit later. This is something we could save for later when I feel like doing some cleanup, but... I don't know, just part of me really wants to get this done right now. We can see over here that there is a fellow that is walking through the Hyrule field. So I forget the exact time this guy tends to show up, but I believe it is after getting Zora's Sapphire that he actually appears. Could you guys just leave me alone here? But anyway, we want to follow this particular fellow until he tires out, which I believe is typically around nighttime. So we're just gonna follow him around for a bit until he eventually stops. While we're waiting, get some other things to talk about. So I have been watching a few videos from, I believe the channel is Jay's Reviews. But yeah, I've been seeing a couple of his videos lately, especially ones pertaining to Ratchet and Clank, as I've been very interested in those games for quite some time, but never had the chance to play them. And I've also checked out the retrospective he posted recently detailing the entire Jak and Daxter series, which is also something I'm pretty into, but don't have the means to play at this time. But still, it's been very entertaining watching his videos. They've been very informative, and it's been nice to get to hear someone's opinions on things that I particularly enjoy. Alright, buddy, are you gonna stop anytime soon? Because I kinda need you to for something I want. Yep, here we go. In old times, I heard there were many wild rabbits in the land of Hyrule. Not anymore, though, because of excessive hunting. I want to become a rabbit, listen to the wind with those ears, hop across the ground with those legs, even if I can only pretend. Well, wouldn't you know it? We have a rabbit mask. I bet with those long ears, you can hear the voices. Oh, these are genuine rabbit ears from the animal of legend. I don't care how expensive it is. Please, sell it to me. Sure thing. My longtime dream, returning to the wildlife. Finally, the actor, stage, and prop have been united. It's a 50 rupee mask, but he paid you a crazy amount of money for it. More money than you can count. Go back to the mask shop and pay back just 50 rupees of this money. So this is why I recommended only doing the thing with the bunny mask until you get the giant's wallet, as he maxes out your current rupee total when you give him the mask. I bet nobody's faster than I am now, but I don't know if I should be happy or sad. Well, you got your wish, buddy. Now you can run like a rabbit. Alright, I'm actually thinking that if there's going to be a Skulltula here in the field, it probably is next to Lon Lon Ranch. Or at least somewhere in this vicinity. It's got a few other ideas on where it could be. Well, how did you spawn on top of this wall, buddy? That is some quality masonry, I'll tell you what. Alright, I'm thinking there's like one other area where this spider could be. We can check there, but after this I'm thinking we may have to call it with this round of cleanup. So at this point I really can't think of anywhere else it could be. Not there. However, part of me is believing that somewhere over here might be able to make something appear by this tree. There we go. We can make a hole appear here. And then... oh, here it is! Oh, I've been waiting for you for so long! Let's go ahead and stun you, and then jump attack to finish you in one hit. God, we've been going all over this area. And it was this stinking tree by Kakariko that we could have done the whole time. Let's grab this token. And by doing that, I believe, we're at 43 spiders, and that's the last spider in Hyrule Field. Woo! So glad I managed to take care of that. Alright, so we managed to sell the bunny hood to the running man out in Hyrule Field. So, it's time to go tell the good news to our buddy, the mask salesman. Let's just head right back into Hyrule Castle Town. Hey, bud. Welcome to Hyrule Castle Town. It's a peaceful, prosperous town. I don't know how prosperous it is considering what happened recently. What do you guys have to say? Look at that guy. He's so scared. What a wimp. Ha ha ha. I almost got kicked by that black horse. So some of the people here have new things to say, given what has recently happened. Oh, so scary. Oh, so scary. That guy riding on the black horse must have been Ganondorf, who's renowned as the Gerudo King of Thieves. That he is. Wasn't that Princess Zelda riding on the white horse? My precious puppy can run faster than any of the monks around here. Alright, so your dialogue is still the same. Alright, let's head back into the mask shop. Oh, great, you sold it! Please pay me back 50 rupees for the bunny hood now. Oh, yeah. Very well done. All the masks are sold out. I knew I could trust you. As a reward, I will lend you this special mask. This is the Mask of Truth. It is a mysterious mask passed down by the Sheikah. With this mask, you can see into other people's minds. It's useful, but scary. Why is it scary? You may find out as you grow older and discover the true meaning of life. Ho, ho, ho. You borrowed a Mask of Truth. Wear a receipt to show it off. From now on, you can borrow any mask you want. Just have faith. So yeah, by doing that quest for the mask salesman, we're now able to rent out a wide variety of different masks that we couldn't before. So now we can have the Goron mask, the Zora mask, and the Gerudo mask. I really have no real need to borrow any of these. But it is good that we have the Mask of Truth. This thing is pretty interesting. So I don't believe there is much we can see by talking to people. How irritating. Yeah, unlike what the mask salesman was saying, we can't really use it to look into what people's hearts are saying. Something happened in the castle. Kid, you'd better be careful. I might have seen a cute little girl around here. Maybe she went to the castle. Who knows? I have a feeling something terrible is going to happen. Maybe I should leave town soon. That may be for the best, actually. Excuse me, sir. The one riding on the white horse holding the little girl. Wasn't that a legendary Sheikah? Yes, she was. What happened? So there's a lot of pandemonium in town regarding Princess Zelda and Ganondorf. If we look around here, you have nothing for us, but if we head back into this part of the alley further down, there's a castle guard here. Are you the boy from the forest? I finally met you. I have something to tell you. Ganondorf, the Gerudo King of Thieves, betrayed our king. Zelda's nanny, Impa, sensed danger and escaped from the castle with her princess. I tried to stop Ganondorf's men from chasing them, but the princess was waiting for a boy from the forest. That's you. She wanted to give something to the boy. If you received it from the princess, hurry to the Temple of Time. He's not moving anymore. For the longest time, I didn't even know that guard was here in this alley. But man, talking with him, it really helps set in just how far Ganondorf has come in order to claim his ambitions. It isn't outright stated, but it's heavily implied that the King of Hyrule is now dead by Ganondorf's hand. And that in the confusion, Impa was able to whisk away Princess Zelda and get her out of the castle before Ganondorf and his followers could find them. And they were just able to escape the castle. I know I said it before, but this game can really get dark when it needs to. We were able to get the spiritual stones, but we were too late to help Zelda, and she was forced to flee. But something we can do is talk to you now that we have at least 40 tokens. The curse's been broken. Thank you. Here's a reward for you. So with that, we get Bomb Chew. On the select item subscreen, you can set it to the buttons. Carry in place with C. That's a new type of bomb that can even crawl up walls. Aim well and release it. Very nice we get it to restock our Bomb Chew supplies. Even though, as I said before, this isn't an item I particularly use that often. But still, it's nice. Alright, next thing I want to do is... I believe what I want to do is head back to Zora's River, as we are now able to buy out the rest of the magic beans that we couldn't before. And we can also take this opportunity to go see our friends the frogs, as thanks to Princess Zelda, we now know another song. So let's go and take care of that, and then I think we can end off this session by heading into the Temple of Time. So we managed to get quite a lot done in this session. I'm very grateful that I managed to have a pretty good stream here. And we should be expecting another stream this Saturday, which should be a good opportunity to get started on some of the things that are going to be very important going forward.
You want magic beans? They aren't cheap, but you still want them? I can't let them go for less than 90 rupees apiece.
Sure, bud. And one more to go.
We have magic beans. Do you want them? 100 rupees for one piece.
There we go. And with that...
Oh, too bad. We're sold out. What? Oh, these beans are not for sale.
With that, we have bought all 10 magic beans from the salesman. We are not going to be able to plant these beans until much later on in our adventure. But I will say that we will be planting them before the end of this playthrough. Now that we've taken care of that, want to head over to the frog log. Okay, that's kind of an awkward thing I actually said there, but, you know. And let us make our way over here. And let us play the Song of Time. And that is the last 50 rupees we can obtain from the frogs. Now that they are all big, there's nothing else we can do with them. So probably want to go check on the frogs a bit later on our journey and see if we can get something else from them later on. I'm sure that'll be fun. Alright, so how about we close things off this session by doing the next piece of the main story and go into the Temple of Time. Before we go here, however, want to equip the Mask of Truth, as this will be something I want to use before the end of this session. So the primary use of the Mask of Truth, now that we have obtained this from the Mask Salesman quest, is that it enables us to check the various Sheikah stones that we have encountered all throughout the land of Hyrule. So pretty much every Sheikah stone has a unique bit of text that you're able to glean from them, but only if you're wearing the Mask of Truth. So, all those times early in our adventure where we encountered one of the Sheikah stones, you can go back to them and get some information from them. However, I'm probably only going to check these ones for the time being. I'm not going to go out of my way and show every last Sheikah stone. Responding to your mask, the strange stone statue talks to you. I overheard this. They say that Gerudo sometimes come to Hyrule Castletown to look for boyfriends. Besides Ganondorf, the Gerudos are an all-female species. So that makes sense. Responding to your mask, the strange stone statue talks to you. I overheard this. They say that it's against the rules to use glasses at the treasure chest shop in Hyrule Castletown Market. You may want to remember that for later in the future. I overheard this. They say that Malin of Lon Lon Ranch hopes a knight in shining armor will come and sweep her off her feet someday. I mean, haven't we all dreamed that at some point? They say that Malin set the original record in the obstacle course of Lon Lon Ranch. We may want to remember that for later. Yes, Navi. We will. Let's go into the temple now. It's the last time we're at the Temple of Time. There wasn't anything we could do. But now, there are 3 hollows and an inscription here. Ye who owns 3 spiritual stones, stand with the Ocarina of Time and play the Song of Time. That is how the inscription reads. This better be worth it, Zelda. After everything we have done, it is time to open the door with the spiritual stones gifted to us by the Great Deku Tree, Darunia, and Ruto, as well as the Ocarina of Time given to us by Zelda in her desperation. The legend has finally come to pass. Let's go.
Hayden, isn't that... It's that legendary blade.
The Master Sword. Back in A Link to the Past, the Master Sword was a necessary object you needed to obtain in order to get past the barrier set by the wizard Aide. This is canonically the second time that the Master Sword has appeared in the series. But the earliest point before A Link to the Past that has actually appeared. There's nothing else here. So the key to enter the Sacred Realm is here. Let's go! Excellent work! As I fought, you held the keys to the door of time. You have led me to the gates of the Sacred Realm. Yes, I owe it all to you, kid. We've been played. Hayden. Wake up. Hayden, the chosen one. Oh, my head. Feels like I've been asleep for, I don't know, days or something. This place is like, wow, old man. I am Rauru, one of the ancient sages. Ages ago, we ancient sages built the Temple of Time to protect the entrance to the Sacred Realm. This is the Chamber of Sages inside the Temple of Light. The Temple of Light, situated in the very center of the Sacred Realm, is the last stronghold against Ganondorf's evil forces. The Master Sword, the evil-destroying sword that you pulled out of the pedestal of time, was the final key to the Sacred Realm. Hayden, don't be alarmed. Look at yourself. Whoa, talk about a growth spurt.
Look, Hayden, you're big now. You've grown up.
The Master Sword is a sacred blade which evil ones may never touch. Only one worthy of the title of Hero of Time can pull it from the pedestal of time. However, you were too young to be the Hero of Time. Therefore, your spirit was sealed here for 7 years. And now that you're old enough, the time has come for you to awaken as the Hero of Time. Well, do you understand your destiny? I guess so. But remember, though you open the door of time in the name of peace, Ganondorf, the Gerudo King of Thieves, used it to enter this forbidden sacred realm. He obtained the Triforce from the Temple of Light, and with its power, he became the King of Evil.
His evil power radiated from the temples of Hyrule, and in 7 short years, it transformed Hyrule into a world of monsters. My power now has only little influence, even in this sacred realm, namely this Chamber of Sages. But there is still hope. The power of the sages remains. When the power of all the sages is awakened, the sages' seals will contain all the evil power in the void of the realm. I, Roru, am one of the sages, and your power to fight together with the sages makes you the hero of time. The hero of time, chosen by the Master Sword. Keep my spirit with you, and find the power of the other sages, and add their might to your own.
You receive the Light Medallion. Waru the Sage adds his power to yours.
Find the other sages and save Hyrule.
Hayden, we're back in the Temple of Time. But have 7 years really passed? It looks like you won't be able to use some of the weapons you found as a kid anymore. Let's get out of here.
Okay. Who's there?
I've been waiting for you, Hero of Time. When evil rules all, an awakening voice from the sacred realm will call those destined to be sages, who dwell in the 5 temples. One in a deep forest, one on a high mountain, one under a vast lake, one within the house of the dead, one inside a goddess of the sand. Together with the Hero of Time, the awakened ones will bind the evil and return the light of peace to the world. This is the legend of the temples, passed down by my people, the Sheikah. I am Sheik, survivor of the Sheikahs. As I see you standing there holding the mythical Master Sword, you really do look like the legendary Hero of Time. If you believe the legend, you have no choice. You must look for the 5 temples and awaken the 5 sages. One sage is waiting for the time of awakening in the forest temple. The sage is a girl, I'm sure you know. Because of the evil power in the temple, she cannot hear the awakening call from the sacred realm. Unfortunately, equipped as you currently are, you cannot even enter the temple. But, if you believe what I'm saying, you should head to Kokiri Village. Do you understand, Hayden?
Friendly fellow. So yeah, we have learned a lot now. We are no longer a boy. We are now a man. And with that, a lot has now changed. Our equipment has changed so that we can no longer use certain things. The Master Sword now replaces the Kokiri Sword, for example, and we can no longer switch to the Deku Shield. Along with that, some other items are no longer available to us. This is just such a pivotal point in this game's narrative. Just the reveal that Ganondorf knew we were after the stones all along and was waiting for us to gather them all for him so that we could claim the Master Sword, thus opening the way for him to enter the Sacred Realm and get the Triforce. God, it's just such a great reveal. We're no longer playing a child's fantasy. We have the duties and responsibilities of a man to save the world. But as for the world, much has changed in 7 years. This doesn't look as pretty as it used to. It seemed like just yesterday we were here at Hyrule Castle Town. The market is completely destroyed. All the citizens gone. Only the dead remain here now. And what of the castle? Ganon's castle. Ganondorf didn't just take over Hyrule. He ruined it, defiled it. Hyrule Castle is completely destroyed, and only this bleak, ominous monolith, a symbol of his power and influence over the land, remains. Just everything about stepping into the new world that Ganondorf rules over, it's so good of incentivizing you on wanting to see this journey through to the end in order to save this world from Ganondorf's evil. These streets used to be so bustling with life, but now there is nothing. Just an empty husk of once was. Ooh, got a new face here. Some pose. So Hyrule Field has also changed greatly since the last time we were here. We will no longer encounter Peahats or Stall Children. Instead, we will encounter Pose. It doesn't spook easy, does it? There's not much we can really do to this thing. Really goes to show just how much things have changed. And although things look bleak now, we will be the hero to save this world from evil. So with that said, I think that's where we're gonna end things off here. So the next time on The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we will set off for Kokiri Village and hopefully find the means to save this world. Until next time, have a good day, and take care.